Good morning. Once again, it's Darren Freedom Green, and we're live and direct on Trentonian.com. It's good to be back online, giving good information about great people inside the city of Trenton who are making an impact, not running their mouths, but tangibly touching the ground and impacting the lives of our young people, the community, and the city itself. A lot of great things going on here. Don't believe the hoorah. I want to introduce my first guest this morning. Excited to have her on. She's doing some really great work with our young people in the community in the music field. Good morning. How are you?
I'm glad to be here.
All
Thank
right.
you, Darren.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Marcia Wood. I'm the director and founder of the Trenton Community Music School and music and kids and music education.
Okay, so talk a little bit about your program first, where it's at, and the age groups and people who you're touching and dealing with on a daily basis.
Sure. When I first started the school, I thought I was just going to teach 8-year-olds how to play the piano, but that has not been true from day one.
All right.
We have senior citizens coming in learning to play the saxophone and the flute.
Okay.
And we have a very large program that we take out to preschools all over town. We do a wonderful preschool program called Music for the Very Young.
Okay.
So we're both an on-site program where people come and say, can I learn to play the fill in the blank?
Okay.
And we're also an outreach program where we reach hundreds and hundreds of preschool kids throughout the city.
Okay. Okay. In the school system, one of the things I'm very upset about is due to budgeting, a lot of the musical and theatrical art programs have been removed. How has that impacted your population? Have people gravitated more towards you?
Unfortunately, when I started the school in 98, 99, that was the year that all of the instrumental teachers got ripped out of the elementary schools. It's a terrible thing. Children need to be introduced to instruments in 3rd and 4th grade.
Okay.
For the first couple of years, it was wonderful because there were parents whose kids had learned music who still wanted to take lessons.
Okay.
And they came to us. But I knew from the beginning it was going to be bad for us in the long run, because if the children aren't introduced to it with their peers in a situation in which they can play in a band, in an orchestra.
Okay.
That's wonderful not only for music, but that's wonderful for their brains, for their education in general. If they don't start there, it's really no fun to come to me and take a clarinet lesson. What are you going to do with that?
Right.
So I often think, Darren, actually, if I had to do it over again, maybe what I should have done was start a community band.
Okay.
The kids need to be all together, in one room, playing together, learning together.
They do.
And I do think there is an effort now to bring that back.
Okay.
I see encouraging signs coming out of the school. We have a supervisor of fine and performing arts for the first time in years.
Nice.
In the public school district.
Okay.
And I like him. He's bringing a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the job. They're actually getting some instrumental lessons again in the middle schools, which hasn't been true for a while. So I'm holding my breath that this is going to work.
Okay. And we'll keep pushing, and hopefully programs such as this will draw the attention of other people, corporate sponsors, and give us an opportunity to get what we ultimately need is good funding. You know, it's something very important to be able to do the things we want to do. It always comes down to the dollar sign and the bottom line, and have the capability to bring in the resources and the building. We were talking before we came on, you're actually looking to expand and get a building of your own. We'll talk a little bit about that.
My husband sometimes calls us the Hermit Crab Music School because we keep moving from shell to shell.
Okay.
It's not easy to house us. Actually, the best location we had, we were at Holland Middle School, old Junior 3.
Okay.
Before they turned it into the other high school campus.
Right.
And we were there for 5 years, and we could really build the program. We had 200 students at that point.
Wow.
Coming in to take individual lessons.
Okay.
And when they turned it into a high school, they no longer had the room for us. So since then, we've sort of been bouncing around. We're in a church basement right now at Blessed Sacrament, Our Lady of Divine Shepherd.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful space, but the church uses the space, so we have to share. And we can only be open one night a week. We just opened a Saturday program in Ewing, actually.
Okay.
But sure, to have one space that could be ours all 7 days of the week would be great. In fact, what you and I probably agree on, although we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but what Trenton really needs is a community center of the arts, where all of the arts happen under one roof. And the chorus rehearses there, and the dance is offered there, and the music is offered there, and it becomes a living room for the community. And the parents meet each other there. And that's what I think really would make a difference.
Okay, very well put. I'd like to see now you got my mind going about 9,000 miles an hour. There are going to be, due to the way they're revising the schools, I think some open schools. Not sure what their plans are for doing with the buildings themselves, but that may be something we can look into. I know up by Joyce Kilmer, I don't think they're using that school, the one right now, the old Joyce Kilmer, I'm saying. I think that building may be open. And I think at the end of this year, they're proposing again to close at least 3 more schools. Have you given some thought to maybe talking to the board about going and getting one of those closed schools?
I'm a small organization, but I'm a part of an organization called City Arts.
Okay.
And this is a group of anybody that has anything to do with arts education for children in Trenton.
Okay.
I should say children and youth.
Okay.
So that includes the Trenton Children's Chorus and Passage Theater. It includes several dance groups. I can't think of all right now. That's the kind of group that needs to be incorporated into a larger facility.
Okay.
But it's hard to know who to talk to,
right.
And it's hard to know who, who the instigators are on either side.
Okay.
But if you're an instigator, maybe we could talk to you.
Oh, I'm an instigator. I'm a fire starter. You can name a few things. But what I do know is if we do not engage and empower our young minds right now, then we will ultimately sentence them to death. I talk just in straight terms. They will end up in either the penitentiary or sadly the cemetery. And we have to begin to engage and empower them in their own future. So what I'm saying I'm going to do, and I make my word on, is we can work with that collaborative of people you talked about and introduce to the board a proposal and really chin check them and make them do what they're supposed to do, which is to enhance the quality of life for our young people, the community, and the city at heart, with education being at the forefront. And I think bringing all the arts into one building that isn't occupied is a win-win.
Old school buildings are very good for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're big, wonderful big rooms,
right.
Wonderful art studios.
Okay.
Housing a music school is a little different. We'd have to do moving around because I need a small room with a door that shuts so
okay.
I can teach a piano lesson inside, and then maybe another 9 or 10 of them down the hall.
Right.
But all of that can be worked out. It's the commitment to the importance of arts education in the lives of the children and youth of Trenton. It's beyond stating that it answers so many questions. Ask me a question and the answer is arts education. You want to talk about world peace? It's arts education.
Okay.
You want to talk about juvenile delinquency? It's arts education. You want to talk about doing well in school? Everybody knows to improve a curriculum, to improve a child's chances, all you have to do is add the arts to the curriculum. Think of what that does. Okay. Think of how that brings kids to school. Okay. Think of how that gives them a way to express the feelings that they have. Think of what it does for their ability to perform, to speak.
I like that.
It's a miracle worker.
It
truly is.
It is.
And that's not even saying what we're now learning about the brain and neurological connections and the Mozart effect of, how learning is really impacted by music.
Right.
We really need to do it. I think it's like, typhus in the water. We really need to do something about it. It needs to be addressed.
I agree.
And if we don't offer this, to the students, they're not going to do as well in their academic subjects.
I agree. We have to find incentives to engage our young people and make them take value in not just life itself, but in education and their education. I think the arts give them an opportunity to express themselves. One of the things we do when we teach in our classroom is I send them up front. They have a word. They have to quote it. They have to express how they see the word, how they define the word. I make it personal. Because if you don't allow them to see themselves in the picture you're painting, which is mental, then manifests itself to be physical, then they lose themselves. And that's the disconnect where you're saying they're not coming to school because they don't see themselves in the process. That's an excellent point. Let's close out on music today, music before. I'm an old school charmer, Marvin Gaye. My dad used to ride in the car and listen to Otis Redding. If I touched the station, he would punch me. So I'm one of those type of people. So let's talk a little bit about the impact of music, because I really talk about this. Like in the classroom, I only play DAS, or I only let them listen to Nina Simone or Curtis Mayfield, and it has a direct impact when they're listening to quality music that has substance, music with a message, and what the music today does, in your opinion. You can take that and run any way you want.
I know very little about the music of today.
Okay.
I'm really classically trained. We teach, I wouldn't say we teach classical music. We teach basic music.
Okay.
Our kids have to learn to read music.
I agree.
And you can do whatever you want with it after that.
Okay.
This really shows up when the students come to us. It's not as much of an issue with the instrumentalists, but when our voice students come to us,
okay,
they come in and they say, I want to sing this, or I want to sound like that.
Nice.
And we have to start by letting them see that they have a voice. It's their voice.
Okay.
It's not somebody else's voice. They're not going to sound like somebody else. They train their voice, and then their voice is what they use to express themselves in music. But first, they have to learn how to read music. And they have to learn how to sing without destroying their vocal cords.
Okay.
And they have to do things properly, and then we don't care. They can go out and sing whatever style and genre of music they want.
Okay.
But the training is different from the actual performance.
Right.
And it's very physical. It's learning things that have to be learned, and then you build on top of that and become the performer that you want to become.
Okay.
That's not directly an answer to your question.
No, it is really, because you went into the science of music. Yeah, I appreciate that.
But the issue that is a little disturbing to me about music in the general population nowadays is that everybody has their own. We don't share music communally. That's not the way music should be. It shouldn't be, I'm on my earphones and you're on your earphones, and you know, you're listening to your stuff and I'm listening to my stuff, and
separate
then
worlds.
You are living in separate worlds, and you need to take the earphones out. You need to listen to something together.
Right.
And it's a wonderful experience to go to a concert, don't you think?
No, I agree.
To go to a concert, and what you are sharing is that feeling that everyone else in the same room is having the experience that you're having. That builds connections between people.
I like that.
And that's what I don't like about this.
Okay.
You know, and people saying, "Oh, I could never like him. He doesn't like my music."
Right.
So
it isolates. I
don't like him because he doesn't listen to XYZ.
Okay. All right. Let's close out with you giving some contact information so people will know how to reach out and get connected to you and be able to help you in what we're getting ready about to do, because I'm getting ready to put a lot of light on this thing.
Great.
Yes, what I do.
Well, we have a website, TC Music School. We have a Facebook page. Please look us up. We post a lot of nice pictures of our kids. And you can reach us at 609-394-8700. We enroll students all year long, and we'd love to hear from you.
All right. All right. I want to thank my phenomenal guest for coming on, and she's doing some great work, and we're getting ready to really tear things up. She doesn't know how outlandish I can get when it comes to these babies and communication and music and opportunity. So she's going to be meeting with me a lot. But definitely, it's definitely something we need to do inside of Trenton and rebuilding the culture, because there's a poor culture here in terms of education, community, music, everything. We have to turn that around by bringing a better quality idea, concept to the table. So I want to thank you for coming on.
It was
and
great
we'll be
fun.
connected. And she has a great grip too.